All right, back working on the Omni for a little bit today. Just gonna tear the brakes off this thing, get them all broke down, get them all cleaned up. That way it's ready for the new brake parts when they get here. So since I lost the video of underneath the car I took the other day, we'll go ahead and do that again now. So I already got the wheels off. This car is turning out to be extremely original. I just noticed this. They put these on in the assembly line, and when you have brakes done, nobody ever gets those off without destroying them, and they don't put them back on. So, and these are little thin, non-vented rotors. Such dainty little tiny car parts. This thing doesn't weigh a lot, so it's had pads thrown on it multiple times. These ones are still good, so might be a mistake to reuse them, but I mean they're full pads, so save the $12 or whatever and we'll reuse them. But I was gonna throw new rotors on because I did notice they're grooved, and this is a pretty good little lip there, but you got some mud dauber, dirt, cobwebs, all that fun stuff. But so gonna rebuild the calipers, new pads up front. Also I'm gonna redo the bearings in the back here. I need to look at, I bought seals, but I don't know how. I didn't really think that through. I ordered seals for the front hubs, but I guess I'll check them and see how bad I mean, they're not loose with them all together, but you know, you get the brakes off here and it'll show if there's some slop. So I might have to order parts for that. I don't know if these have been changed or not. I really feel like it wouldn't have come with greasable ends on it, but yeah, the tie rods are too. So maybe it's had some tie rods and ball joints, but everything else seems to be original. These brake lines I was talking about, you can see how they've got they got ribs running lengthwise with the hose. I've never bought a brake hose in my life that looks like that, a new hose. So those are old. I can tell also just by the way they look and the corrosion. Well, and this is another giveaway. The factory part number tag from the assembly line, you know, is right there. So yeah, definitely needs the brakes gone over. I got the old master cylinder off. I just had to pull on it, like twist, kind of pry on it, and I got it out. That was a little thing that had the rod pressed into there, but there was a whole bunch of that slimy brown goo stuff that came out of the little rubber boot, which is I got it sitting over here. This rubber boot goes on the back there, and it was full for the most part. So that's definitely been leaking, along with the rear wheel cylinder that is obviously failed. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on today. Get all these brakes off and get all this stuff cleaned up and ready for the new brakes. So when I get everything here in a few days, I will be able to start reassembling this thing brakes wise, and that way it'll be ready to be bled out, and then I'll hopefully get the carburetor kit about the same time. It's coming from a different source, but I'll tear this thing apart, get it all cleaned up, and get it all put back together, and hopefully I can actually make a video of it running and driving, which would be pretty cool, because it's been off the road for a little while, but needs a pressure wash bath, pretty bad. So we'll probably get that taken care of here too, once I get it drivable. I wonder, this has got spots for like mounts. I wonder if these are the same bumper, front and rear. Yeah, look, I got the mount right here. It's obviously in a plastic. I'll have to throw a tape measure on there. If that's the case, that makes it twice as easy to find another bumper, because I can get one from the front or the rear. That'd be pretty handy. So I think this plastic. Oh yeah, this one on the, It's pretty floppy. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. No. This one's secured really good, so it doesn't move. I don't know if it's just loose. I think it's partially broken, but if these bumpers are the same front and rear, I'll have to measure those end caps. See, they look like they're the same. If that's the case, that just makes it easier. You know, it's smart. It'd be smart of them to have used the same bumpers front and rear. Saves money on manufacturing. They don't have to design one part and they can use it on both ends of the car. But I'll have to tape measure that and find out. But go ahead and break down these brakes and get some of this stuff off here, and then I'll do a little update then. I got some family stuff to go to later today, so I'm only gonna work on this for a little while and see if I can get all this stuff tore apart today before I have to go. So let's see how it goes. Well, I've got all the brakes off the car now. Everything came off pretty good. I had a couple lines that kind of wanted to fight, but I was able to get them broke free and not twist the brake pipe off with the nut. So that's good. I'm pretty sure that the rear brakes on this car, absolutely 100% factory Chrysler. They still have Pentastar markings on them. I'll show you one here. Let's see here. Grab this. So right there. It says relined. So maybe they weren't original to the car, but they definitely maybe had one brake job. But with Chrysler parts, which is kind of, they've been on there for a really long time nonetheless. But yeah, I got both sides stripped down here. Got them all cleaned off, some brake cleaner, scrubbed them down with wire brush, you know, knocked the crust off. I'm not gonna go through and get crazy and like sandblast and paint and make it all look new, because I'm gonna drive the car. It's not like a $1 million car, so if I was gonna get that crazy, I'd be like, you know, cleaning all this up and painting everything too. Maybe someday way down the road, you know, if I keep the car, it'll get like a suspension restoration. But everything seems to be in really good shape. It's all really tight. Bushings aren't like split and falling apart. It just really was like, you know, like this side especially, the brake shoes were coming apart just really bad. This side was like stuck on, and I kind of wonder if it was the combination of there was a brake drag issue, and then maybe the car wasn't running very good, and that's why it ultimately got parked. You know, I've seen remnants of like a tarp. I found pieces of tarp material here and there. So I kind of wonder if, you know, the car had been like tarped up or something to try to keep it from getting too weathered at some point. I feel like it probably had some problems. It got parked. Somebody had intentions of getting it fixed or whatever. Life happened, and it just ended up getting kicked down the road, unfortunately. Because like I said, pretty sure this was a one family owned car. I don't know the facts for sure, just kind of piecing things together. It was somebody's grandma's car, aunt's car, or whatever, and it got passed around the family, I think, a little bit. And then towards the end of that family owning it, it kind of fell in disrepair and just didn't get fixed, and I'm guessing some stuff came up and it just had to go. And I just know that the guy I got the car from, he was a scrap car hauler guy. You know, he hauled stuff off for cheap to scrap. I think he paid a little bit more for this one because it was nice and he wasn't gonna scrap it. I don't know. I paid a fair amount for it. I don't think it was a screaming deal, but just due to the rarity of the car and the fact that it's unique, I think it was probably worth it. I mean, it really only costed me maybe $300 to get all this mechanical stuff sorted out, doing it myself, and it'll be back on the road. So I think I in total, before doing licensing stuff, I think I'll probably be about $1,000 complete into the car, which isn't bad for a running driving car, but it's also not like it's a super valuable car anyways. So the tires, they're older, but they're in really good shape. They're not rotten or anything. I have to find the center caps for these wheels. They're American racing wheels, I know that. I just need to measure this, the hole in the middle there, and make sure I get the right diameter figured out to order some caps off of eBay, because, you know, eBay has everything, right? So overall, everything's in really good shape. Obviously, I still need to get these fuel lines off right here. I need to redo those, but I need to get more fuel line. I'm out of 5/16 fuel line, which is what the Chrysler stuff uses. Even this car, even though it's got little tiny stuff, it's still only 5/16. So that's where we're at. Brakes are all off. Things are cleaned up, ready to go back together. On the car side, I need to take the drums, which there's one right there, and the other one's over here, right there. I need to knock the seals out and take the bearings out and clean them all up, repack them with grease, and then when I get the new seals, I can put the seals in the backs of those. They'll be ready to go on over the new brakes. These guys, I gotta pop the piston out of there, put the new O-ring in there, and then the dust boot, you know, of course, clean it all, put it back together. And then I have to remove this thing still off the old master cylinder. Got to get this reservoir off without breaking it, which that'll be fun. I think I can get it off, but it's still nerve-wracking because it's, you know, 40-year-old plastics. So overall, pretty good productive couple hours on the car. You know, got all the brake hoses off too. So when those get here, I can put those on, rebuild the calipers, put them back on. I got new rotors coming. The brake pads right here, they're like brand new. I'll probably take them over to a belt sander and just kind of buzz them off for a second, just to get them clean. Make sure they're smoother, because I think one of them's got a little bit of a ridge worn in it from the old rotor. But those pads were practically new. They must have just had them done recently before the car got parked. So parts should be here end of the week, so I will get back to work on it then. I got a couple other things to work on. Got holiday stuff coming up, so we will be taking a break on working on stuff, which I'm not really working on stuff that hard anyways. I'm kind of taking it easy, just because no reason to be in a rush, really. My stuff, I don't have a timeline. I don't have to get it back to anybody, but I do need my lift. I do need this. I do need to get this car out of here so I can that way I can work on some other stuff. I got other things to take care of. I need to get my neon in the shop and get to work on some stuff on that. So along with a Jeep project that I've been working on for a coworker, got to do some axle swap stuff on that. It's got a bad front end, and instead of trying to take it apart, figure out what's wrong with it and rebuild it, I just found a whole nother Jeep cheap. I'm gonna take the front end out of that one. Hopefully it's good. I think it is. It doesn't seem like this Jeep has been off-roaded and beat on like this other one. I think kind of did, even though it didn't seem like it hadn't. It seemed like it was a Jeep that hadn't been beat on as well. But you know, marketplace. People like to make things look better than they are and say, "Oh yeah, it's great. Oh, it was driving fine. It just quit running, so I parked it." Yeah, that one was fun. Did a lot more work on that than it was led on to believe it needed. This other Jeep, though, I feel like the guy was honest with me, so I'm just gonna rob the axles out of it, swap them over, and then it might get turned in. It might be a future project that I build with my other half, so it might get a whole bunch of fabrication work and put on some like you know, 3/4 ton axles out of an old 70s Dodge or something, and then I'll probably keep the stock 4-liter in it. It's supposed to be a pretty fresh engine. It's manual. The manual transmission's bad, which is why this one was parked. The transmission's actually out of it in the back, so there'll be some videos on that at some point. Probably not anytime soon, but just working away to get what we can done when we can, and of course money's the other thing. So money's always holding everything up. Parts are kind of expensive for some stuff. This car, they're really cheap, but I fear that's because they're trying to get rid of inventory, and in the future I won't be able to get parts as easily. So if I decide I'm going to keep the car here in the next, I don't know, year or so, maybe I'll be kind of crazy and just order wheel bearings and wheel seals and brake parts and a bunch of stuff just to throw on the shelf, just to have this stuff just in case it becomes really hard to find, you know, long down the road when I actually need it again. In theory, I take care of all this stuff after it being done, you know, flush the brakes every few years and make sure, you know, not letting it sit too long to keep the carburetor and everything clean. It should technically be fine for a long time. I shouldn't have to redo any of this for a very long time. So we'll go from there, but I'm calling it quits for today.